This episode is sponsored by Chapman and Company. Welcome to the Startup Spotlight series hosted by Mug.News. In this show, we highlight startups throughout Middle America who are supporting their community through diversity, innovation, and creativity. I am your host, Caitlin Clays, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Spotlight. Welcome to the Startup Spotlight series, where we highlight impressive startups throughout the Midwest. Here with me today is Beth Fynbo, the co-founder of Busy Baby Mat, a non-slip placemat designed to keep toys in place. They are a veteran and women-owned business based in Minnesota. Beth, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So kind of to jump right in, could you tell me a little bit more about Busy Baby Mat?
Yeah, so the Busy Baby Mat is my invention. I was actually, in the military for 10 years, and then I was doing corporate work, and then I had a baby at the age of 40. And when I went back to work for my maternity leave, a couple of my stay-at-home mom friends took me out for lunch, and they brought their babies with them. And during that lunch, those little babies, as cute as they were just a huge distraction. They were grabbing everything on the table, dropping all their toys, throwing their toys. And so I just went on Amazon. I was like, I need to buy something for my son that will stop him from being this distraction when he's old enough to go out to eat. Long story short, it didn't exist. And so I invented it. And now here we are 4 years later, 6 products, all to help make life a little bit easier with a busy baby.
Mm-hmm. And it's so sweet. I have a ton of cousins, so it's funny when they all get to a certain age, the fun throw pickup game is just, they all find that game so much fun.
Yeah, it starts out actually really innocent because babies don't start out with the finger dexterity to be able to hold on to things. So it starts out very innocently if they accidentally drop things because they don't know how to do it. And then they realize, oh, every time I drop something, some big person picks it up and gives it back to me. So let me just keep playing this game now because now it's a game of theft.
Absolutely. So then when were you founded?
So my son was born in 2017. So that's the year I had the idea. It was 2017. We've had our first product ready to go to customers in 2019.
Okay. So then my follow-up question with that, 2019 and this COVID pandemic, I wanted to ask, has the pandemic affected your business? If so, how?
So prior to the pandemic, I had invented a product to be used in restaurants. So I was out to eat with my friends at a restaurant. I wanted a product that I could use at restaurants. And then right before the pandemic, I was ready to start going into retail stores. So I actually had a second baby in January of 2020. So my plan was when I recovered from having the baby, I was going to take my maternity leave and go from store to store everywhere within driving distance and get my products into stores. Well, as we all know, in the early 2020 was the pandemic, the stores all closed. And the restaurants all closed. So nobody was needing products that were to be used in restaurants. Mm-hmm. So we actually did a big shift and started marketing the product for using it at home. And it turns out that it's way more useful at home than in restaurants. You can put it on the high chair. It keeps the baby busy while you're getting food ready, while you're eating your own food, while you're cleaning up from supper, while you're doing a Zoom meeting. So in 2020, we actually shifted our marketing towards the home uses of the products. And then I took all of my budget that I had allocated for going to expos, which were now canceled, and I put all that money into Facebook ads. And so we saw just it skyrocketed. We grew 800% in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah, it was huge growth in 2020. And then in 2021 is, I guess, still this year, but it seems like forever ago. In March, I was on Shark Tank. So then obviously that's more marketing and more growth. And then we added more products. So we're on quite the ride.
Absolutely. So touching on that, then how was your experience with Shark Tank? How did you become involved in it? How were you drawn to that?
So when I started my idea, I had no idea how to take an idea, a product idea, and make it a real thing and sell it to people. I had no idea how to do any of that. So I actually took a course on entrepreneurship and how to start a business. And because I was an Army veteran, there was a free course that I was able to take through Bunker Labs. And so through that program, they had the email address to a Shark Tank producer. the show had reached out looking for Army veterans or military veterans to feature on the show. So at the time I wasn't ready. So I just took that email address and I put it in my, contact list and thought, well, someday I'll reach out to that guy and tell him I'd love to be on Shark Tank. And I forgot all about it. And then about a year later, when I launched my product, I sent it out to literally every single email contact I had in my contact list. And I had forgotten about him. And he responded to my launch email saying, hey, this is Clay from Shark Tank. I see you're live. What are your sales like? How would you be interested in being on Shark Tank? So that started a 2-year conversation that finally resulted in me being on Shark Tank in March of 21.
Holy moly. That is so cool. So you'd mentioned like not exactly knowing that process and you'd taken this class. Is entrepreneurship run in your family by any chance, or do you know any? Yeah.
It does. I grew up the daughter of an entrepreneur. So my dad is a welder. Mm-hmm. He's always had his own business since I was born. And so I grew up, that was my first job, mowing his grass and sweeping his floors in his welding shop. And I always knew that I wanted to start my own business someday. But what I learned from my dad is that you have to have a good amount of passion for what you're doing, because there's going to always be ups and downs. There's always going to be really hard times that you have to go through. And if you don't actually have enough passion for what you're doing, you're not going to be able to get through those hard times. And so when I graduated from high school, even though I wanted to have my own business, I didn't know what that would be. I didn't have anything I felt passionate about. So that's why I ended up joining the Army. And it wasn't until my son was born that I kind of figured out this was the time that I wanted to have control of my life, my own schedule. Mm-hmm. And I had this great idea. And so here we are.
Mm-hmm. And so for, your business and when you're selling all of your products, do you have a brick and mortar, or are you mainly online based?
No, we are almost completely online. We're actually here in my garage, where we do all of our order fulfillment mm-hmm. for our website. We also ship product to Amazon, so we're on Amazon Prime. And then we're in a handful of maybe 200 retail stores across the country, just, mom and pop specialty shops that want to sell our products. So we mm-hmm. ship them to them, sell as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been really cool to hear your story of like the pivot, and with entrepreneurship and COVID has come in to play. It's been so important to be able to shift perspectives. So it sounds, you started out with restaurant in mind, and now it's turned completely into like at home based. Again, even more convenient for having it at home. So.
Right. And now the restaurant is actually coming back around, because now people are more concerned at restaurants, worried about and more conscious about germs. So now for travel, people are using the Busy Baby mat on airplane trays and airplane windows to keep those toys off of all the surfaces that you don't know what's there, and getting back into restaurants again.
That is, I didn't even think of that, so I'm not a parent myself, so that sounds even more like helpful right. and safe and safety for everyone, honestly, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of touching on a ton of topics of just like health and safety, convenience for parents, babies, everything like that, of like toys not falling everywhere. From what we've mentioned, do you have any other, company goals, mission statements that you're working towards?
Yeah, our mission is always to just make life easier with a baby. And everything started with my own kids. So now I have 2. They're almost 2 and almost 5. And so we've expanded our product line to include more things to make life easier with a baby. But now that my babies are no longer babies, we're coming up with more products to make life easy with a toddler. So our next product in development is a toddler mat instead of a baby mat. And it's designed to help toddlers learn how to write letters and numbers and work the next stage of life. So I think the vision I see is that we just keep coming up with ways to make life a little bit easier with kids as I encounter those things with my own kids.
Oh my gosh, that's like hands-on inspiration right there.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just a kind of a problem solver. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, but I can't help solving the problems that I'm faced with and trying to make life a little easier. And if I can do that for other parents, then that's a win.
100%. So you are based in Minnesota, and I
Correct.
wanted to ask then, how are you helping support your community, whether it's local or if it's kind of mass, since you are selling your product kind of all over?
I think there's probably two ways that I feel like I'm participating. And one way is that I am now in a position that new parents or new people with new ideas are reaching out to me for advice.
Mhm.
I was that person 4 years ago. I didn't know what I was doing, and so I would ask questions of anybody who would talk to me. What do I need to look out for? What do I need to worry about? What do I need to make sure that I do? And now I get to be that person for other people that have new ideas and want to start a business. So I think that's awesome. And locally, I've learned of who are the other business owners around here and how can we support each other.
Mhm.
And so that's been really great because I didn't realize how many other small businesses there are in my area. And small businesses need a lot of support. And so if we're able to support each other and do things like share Facebook posts and comment and like, those are really helpful in the algorithms and to help grow that business and get more people to see that business. And so we are able to support each other through that.
Mhm. You touched on social media interaction, and it's been even more intense with COVID going on. That social media is truly a wonderful, tangible way to
Yeah.
help people. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it is. And
no,
no, go ahead. I
continue.
was just
No, no,
going to
no,
say
no,
with
no. Go ahead. Tell me more.
no, I mean, with the small business thing, and one thing I've learned is, even being on Shark Tank, that's national television. And I was on Good Morning America. People still don't know what the Busy Baby mat is. People don't have never heard of Busy Baby. No one, I mean, it almost feels like nobody knows about us, even though we were on national TV. So when we have those posts and ads on Facebook, to share it with your friends and family and to like and to comment, that makes a big difference, for any small business because that's the only way people are seeing and hear about it.
Hmm. Speaking of then that coverage, your social medias, do you have a YouTube channel or a TikTok as well?
I'm working on those too. So we have the Facebook and Instagram pages, which we've been building. I am literally just now learning how to make TikToks,
Hmm.
which is quite hard for this old dog. Like it's a new trick that's hard for me to learn. But I'm working on it and working. That's kind of the goal for the next, 6 months is to really grow our YouTube and TikTok presence.
100%. Yeah, that has been something even I've noticed too with building my own kind of like products and things like that. TikTok has been very helpful, but also very confusing first getting started.
Yes, that's what like before this call. That's what I was doing was trying to figure out how to create TikTok ads.
So then, we've kind of touched on a lot of topics, the ups, downs, the unexpected things that come up with starting a new business. But I wanted to ask, do you have any advice for beginning business owners who are just getting started?
Yes, I do because I've been there. And the first thing I learned from other people that I'm really glad I did was before you spend any significant amounts of money, figure out what the problem you're solving is, like narrow it down to one or two sentences, figure out who is the target person you're solving that problem for, who's going to buy your product, your service, or idea. And then the hardest part is find those people in strangers. So don't ask your friends and family, don't ask people you know. For me, it was go to Target and find new moms and tell them what my idea is and ask them what they think because your friends and family are always going to support you and root you on. Some stranger at Target who doesn't know you is going to tell you the truth. And so the first thing you need to do is say, here's my idea. What do you think of it? How much would you pay for it if it was real? Would you buy it? And get that feedback. So that kind of gives you the confidence to know, like for me, it was an overwhelming yes. Like, can I buy this, crappy prototype that I was carrying with me? I got that confidence to move forward with yes, like even strangers say this is a good idea. Or you might get a confused look and like, and that will save you a lot of money or time, maybe motivate you to change the idea to make it something that those strangers would then see the value in. Because if you put a lot of time and money behind something that's your idea that no one else sees value in,
Mm-hmm.
then you're kind of, losing your time and money.
Mm-hmm. So then regarding kind of funding and getting on your feet, building your product expanse, did you get any local grants from the Minnesota community, or was it mainly like what kind of help did you receive from your community?
Yeah, so much help actually. So in southern Minnesota, there's something called the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation. I think other parts of the Midwest have similar foundations. They gave me a seed loan, which was a no interest, no payment loan for 12 months that they then extended to 18 months. So it was basically free money for me to use to start my business that I didn't have to start paying back until I actually had some sales coming in. And then I competed in University of Minnesota's startup competition, which I wasn't a student or anything there. It's a competition open to everyone in the state. And I won thousands of dollars through that competition as well. Mm-hmm. So and then there's tons of other resources. I think every state has a lot of resources to support entrepreneurs. You just have to find them.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So then I had one other question. Yes. So then regarding any upcoming things, you talked about how you're developing some products for toddlers, the next age step. Has there been any other news that has happened recently for you and your business, or is there going to be anything upcoming?
Upcoming, we're going to be, and I don't know at the time of that this gets aired, but next week we're going to be on Good Morning America again, which is really cool. And then we are going to be developing more products for a whole different market, because this product of being able to attach things to a mat is really great for the handicap and elderly market. So let's say you have a grandpa that's at the nursing home and has Parkinson's, and so tends to maybe drop the silverware a lot in the dining facility. Those places are typically understaffed. How long is it until someone sees grandpa's lost his fork? Mm-hmm. The mat could be used in kind of a situation like that, or for people with wheelchairs. So that's going to be like the next thing that we're going to be doing after the toddler mat.
Mm-hmm. That is I'm sorry, that is just so cool to hear. And especially I have very strong family ties. And so when it comes to like family through the elderly, that sounds like it would be very helpful. And also gives like the person who's elderly like autonomy of their own, like not needing to ask for that help, because it's like there and provided for. So
it's an interesting thing how the human body works. So we started this talking about how babies don't have the dexterity to hold on to toys when they drop them. Mm-hmm. As we age and get older, we lose our dexterity. We're unable to, with arthritis, hold things properly. And so the mat, being kind of a non-slip surface, is going to be helpful for picking up food or pills, medications, and then also keep those, eating utensils within reach.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for expanding on that. Yeah, full circle. Well, thank you for expanding on that and touching on that, even though we don't know, the next time we'll talk about it, but I do appreciate you kind of sharing a little bit more about what you're working on for future. And so kind of as we're coming to an end, I wanted to ask, how can our viewers support you? How can we at Mug.News help you out, get more coverage? What can we do to help?
I mean, honestly, it comes down to what we already talked about. If you ever see a Busy Baby ad on Facebook, like that ad, throw a comment on there, share it with your friends on Facebook. That's really the biggest help anybody can ever give us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so then, to close this out, do you have any final thoughts or resources you recommend to the viewers?
Oh gosh, resources, SCORE and the SBDC. So for people starting a business, SCORE gives you free mentorship in all areas. For me, I used it for intellectual property. I could not afford a intellectual property patent attorney in the early days. You can get free mentorship through SCORE, so that's a huge resource. And then the Small Business Development Center, same thing. I got a free website built for me through that resource. So starting out, those are two great resources people can use.
Amazing. And any final thoughts?
No, busybaby.com. It's a great gift for anybody with a baby. Baby showers, Christmas is coming up, so busybaby.com.
Oh, thank you so much, Beth. I've got a ton of ideas then for Christmas presents for all my younger cousins.
Perfect.
Well, that is all the time we have for today, so thank you so much to our guest for sharing more information about her startup. You can find out more about what Beth does through the links in the description, or you can go to Mug.News to see her featured article. Make sure to leave a comment and follow Mug.News for more highlights like this one. We will see you all next time in the Spotlight.